In this session, we are going to talk about lists in Python. We'll start by learning what a list really is and how to create lists. Then we'll learn about some basic functions or methods that we can use with lists. The last part is very much important where we learn about multidimensional lists and how to create them. Let's discuss what lists really are. A list is used to store multiple items in single variable. Imagine you are making a grocery list that includes milk, apple, cheese, salt, and bread. You have multiple items and you can use a list to store all of them in single variable called grocery list. One great thing about lists is that the items can be of various data types like string, number, or even boolean. To create a list, we first create a variable, like here I am creating grocery list, and then use square brackets to define the list. Inside the square brackets, we include our items separated by commas. For example, I am storing milk, apple, cheese, salt, and bread. We write them inside the square brackets separated by commas. Now let's print the variable grocery list, and here you can see the output is our list of items. Next, let's create another list to store values of different data types. We named it as new list, and then we are using square brackets, and now we write a few strings like milk, apple, cheese, and then a few integers like 1, 2, and 3. Let's print our new list, and you can see the output include milk, apple, cheese, and the numbers like 1, 2, and 3. This shows that list allows us to store values of different data types in a single variable. So the list also allows duplicates, meaning you can add same values multiple times. For example, if we create a list named numList and add numbers like 1, 2, 3, and then add 1 and 2 again, and now let's print the numList, and now let's run the code, and here you can see the output is 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2, showing that list allowed duplicated values. Now let's create another list named myList and store some fruit names like apple, mango, banana, grapes, watermelon, and kiwi. We can access any specific item in the list by its index. For example, to access the item at index 2, within the print function, we simply call our list and then use square bracket to write the index number. If I write 2 and run the code, and here you can see the output is banana because banana is at index 2. So in programming, the index starts from 0, like apple is at index 0, mango is at index 1, and banana is at index 2. Now let's talk about negative indexing. Negative indexing means counting from the end. For example, if within print function I write -1 instead of 2, it will print the last item, like here you can see on the output screen. So the -1 means the last item, and the -2 index means the second last item. -3 means the third last item, and so on. You can also access the range of items by specifying where to start and where to end. For example, within square brackets, if I write 2, then a colon, and then 5, it means that the range starts from index 2 and ends at index 5. The number on the left of the colon is the starting point, and the number on the right of the colon is the ending point. When we run this code, and here you can see the output includes item from index 2 to index 5. Now let's discuss that lists are changeable, meaning we can modify the items in a list. We can change item by referring to their index numbers. For example, if we create a list named program list to store the names of programming languages like Python, C, C++, and Java, and we want to replace C with dot, we can do this by calling the list and the index number of the item we want to change. Here C is at index 1, so we write 1, use the assignment operator, and then add the dot. Now let's print our list. the output is Python, Dart, C++, and Java, like you can see on the output screen. So this shows that lists are indeed changeable. Now if we want to change the range of items, we can also do this. Here I am calling our program list and specifying the range of indices like 1 colon 3. This means our index starts at 1 and ends at index 3. So we are changing items at index 1 and index 2. Now let's write the names of items we want to change. Here I am writing HTML and CSS. Now let's print our list, and now let's run this code, and here you can see the output has changed Dart to HTML and C++ to CSS. Now let's say we want to add an item without changing or removing any of the existing items. For this we can use the insert function. The insert function adds items at any specified index. To use insert function, we first call our list, which is program list. When we type the list name and write full stop, and then we press tab, we get a list of functions we can use here. We want to use insert, so we simply type insert, then write the index number. Here I am writing the index as 3 and the item I want to add, which is MATLAB. So here I am adding MATLAB at index 3. Now let's print our list, program list, and now let's run the code, and here you can see the output includes MATLAB. So far you have noticed that lists are ordered, meaning that the list does not change the sequence of the items randomly. If we add any item, it gets added at a specified sequence but does not change the sequence by itself. Other than insert, we can also use append and extend functions. These functions adds items at the end of the list. First, let's create a list named numList, and within it I am going to store 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now I will use the append function. To use the append function, we first call our list, which is numList, then type a full stop and then append. Here we can write the item we want to add. Let's say I want to add 6, so this function will add 6 at the end of the list. Now let's print our numList, and here you can see the output on the screen, which has 6 at the end of the list. Let's say we want to add multiple items like 8 and 5. For this we can use a tuple inside the append function. A tuple is also a data structure in Python, and we will learn about it in the next video. For now, remember that it is used to add multiple items, and we use it with parentheses. Within append, I am using parentheses and then writing 8 and 5. Now let's run the code, and here you can see the output includes 8 and 5 at the end. Now let's discuss the extend function. The extend function is used to add multiple items at the end of the list by adding one list into another list. To use extend, we first call our list, type a full stop and then extend. Within extend, we create another list using square brackets. Here we write the items we want to add. Let's say I want to add 7, 10 and 9. Let's print our list, and now let's run the code, and you can see the output includes 7, 10 and 9. This is how the extend function actually works. There is also another function you can use, which is the sort function. The sort function sorts the items of the list in ascending order. If we have a list with words, it sorts the list alphabetically. If we have a numbers, it sorts the items of the list numerically. Let's use it with our numList. After calling the numList, we call the sort function. We can call it within the print function, but if we are using the Jupyter Notebook, there is no need to use the print function because Jupyter Notebook allows you to print variables without calling the print function. Now let's run the code, and here you can see the output where it has sorted the list numerically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So the lists also have a reverse function. The reverse function reverses the order of the list. To use the reverse function, we simply call it with our list like numList and then use the reverse function. Let's run this code and you can see the output is the reverse of the original list. So the Python also allows to remove items from the list. For this we can use two functions, remove and pop. The remove function removes a specific item. Let's say I want to remove 5 from our list. We first call our list and then the remove function. Here we are specifying the item we want to remove like 5. Now let's run this code and you can see the output no longer includes 5 in our list. The pop function removes the items at a specified index. To use it, we call our list and then the pop function. Within the pop function, we specify the index of item we want to remove. Let's say I want to remove the item at index 3, which is 4. So I write 3 here. Now let's run this code and here you can see the output no longer includes the item at index 3. List also have a copy function. So the copy function allows us to copy a list and return a new list, which is a copy of our original list. Let's say I want to copy numList. First, I create a variable named copyList, which will be our new list. After the assignment operator, I call the original list, numList, and use the copy function. This creates a copy of our original numList and store it in a copy list. Now let's print both the original numList and the text. This is the original list. And now let's print the copy list with the text. This is a copy list. Let's run this code and you can see the output shows both the original and the copy list. There's also another way to copy a list using the list function. Let's create a new variable named newList. After the assignment operator, we call the list function and pass numList within it. So the list function defines the new list variable as the list and store it in new list as the list of items. Now let's print both new list and num list. With new list I am writing this is a new copy list, and with num list I am writing this is the original list. Now let's run this code and here you can see the output includes both the original and the copy list using the list function. The list function is also used to convert other data types into a list. Here I am creating a variable named cvtlist and a tuple. A tuple is also used to store multiple items in single variable, but we will discuss in the upcoming class. For a tuple, we use parentheses. So within parentheses, I am storing cricket, football, and hockey. Now this is a tuple. Let's check the type of cvtlist variable. For this we use the type function with cvtlist. Let's run the code and you can see the type is tuple. Now let's call the list function before the parenthesis and let's run the code again, and here you can see the type is list now. So list function can also be used to convert any data structure into a list. Now the main and the most important thing about the list is that we can create a multi-dimensional list. Multi-dimensional lists have more than one dimension. For multi-dimensional list, we create a list inside a list. Here I am creating two-dimensional list. I am creating a variable named 2D list, and now I am creating a list. So within this list I am creating sublist. I am creating one sublist and storing 1, 2 and 3. Now I am creating another sublist where I am storing 4, 5 and 6. This is a two-dimensional list because we have two square brackets at the start and two square brackets at the end. Within the main list, we have two sublists, each representing a row. The data in our list is in the form of a spreadsheet with rows and columns. This two-dimensional list can be used to represent matrix for mathematical operations, store tables of data in rows and columns, or even to create two-dimensional games like tic-tac-toe. Now let's print the list. Within the print function, I am calling 2D list, and here you can see the output. Now let's say we want to access any data from a specified index in a list. First we have to call the list, and since we have two-dimensional list, So we write two sets of square brackets. In the first square bracket, we write index of row for which we want to access the data. For example, if I want to access data from row at index 0, I write 0. Then we create another set of square brackets. Within it, we write the index of the item we want to access from the row at index 0. Let's say I want to access the item 2, which is at index 1, so I write 1 here. Now let's run this code and you can see the output is 2. Just like two-dimensional list, we can also create multi-dimensional lists like 3D, 4D or even higher dimensions. Now let's create a three-dimensional list. First we create a variable named 3D list and then we create a list. For a 3D list, we use the three set of square brackets. Here I am writing some items like 1, 2 and 3. Then I close it and create another list. This list has items 4, 5 and 3. Now let's close our first two-dimensional list and create another two-dimensional list with items 8, 7 and 6. Finally, we create another list with items 5, 6 and 7. So this is our three-dimensional list because we have one main list containing two-dimensional lists. This is how we create a three-dimensional list. So the three-dimensional list can be used to create 3D games and have many other use cases. Now let's print the list using the print function, and within it I call 3D list, and here you can see the output is the 3D list. To access items from three-dimensional list, we first call the variable where our list is stored. Then we create three sets of square brackets. Within the first set, we write the index of two-dimensional list from which we want to access the item. Let's say I want to access from the second two-dimensional list, which is at index 1, so I write 1 here. In the second set of square brackets, we write the index of the row. If we have two rows and I want to access items from the first row, I write 0 here. In the third set of square brackets, we specify the index of the item we want to access. If I want to access the item 6, which is at index 2, I write 2 here. Now let's run this code and you can see the output is 6. So this is how our 3D list works. And like this, you can also create 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional or even higher dimensional lists. So that's it for today's video. If you have any question, you can ask them in the comment section. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to keep receiving more programming videos.